Good afternoon and welcome to the One East Side Spark webinar series. Today is August 25th, 2021. My name is Christina Hudson. I'm CEO of One Redmond and founding partner of One East Side. And I'm going to be your host for the program for today. One East Side Spark is a regional recovery and resiliency center funded by federal grant dollars. And this program is really designed to help fortify your small businesses with the resources, the expertise, and additional key areas of support. And the ultimate goal of these programs is to help our businesses thrive and to withstand future economic crises. Spark is a collaboration and a partnership, and I want to thank all the partners you see here on this screen. Our East Side cities, our chambers, we're all partnered together to give you the highest level of support to our local business community. And I want to thank everyone for the hard work that they're doing. The next slide will show you an overview of Spark's current programming, and this includes a database of financial opportunities and other resources, no cost advising and training opportunities, and also to help our small businesses connect with their peers and to share resources, ask questions, and discuss current challenges and opportunities. We've set up a private Facebook group as a platform to help provide that support. So we all encourage you to join that as well. I want to note that advising services are a key component of our program. Through our federal grant, we have been able to actually increase the access to our free of charge one-on-one advising. So this grant pays for the time of these experts so that they can have appointments with you and give you their insight. So if you are a company or nonprofit and you need to speak with a CPA in regarding tax or accounting questions, and this includes the employee retention tax credit, want to go ahead and reach out to Samantha P at oneeastside.org, and she will get you connected with our folks over at Clark Newber. And then our next slide, shows our speaker of the day, Daphne LeBlanc. She happens to be the speaker today, of course, and also our marketing advisor. So again, to get our advisors on your calendar, again, at no cost to you, we encourage you to contact Samantha Paxton at our One East Side program, Samantha P at oneeastside.org. All right, next slide, please. So I also want to remind everyone of the Small Business Development Center that we have based in the One Redmond offices. Some of you may have heard his pricing strategy webinar last week, which was fantastic. His name is Sean Palmer, really a wealth of information. And you see his contact information here on the screen, Sean P at oneeastside.org. And then briefly looking ahead to next week, we have a webinar on September 8th. It's the SBA EIDL program update. This program will have simultaneous translation to assist non-English speakers. It's the first time we're doing this, so we're actually very excited about it. Also on September 25th, we have the Boost Your Business event in partnership with the Startup 425 and Bellevue College. This event will be great for those who need resources and tools for taking their business digital. All right, let's get going on with our program. Today's webinar is about how to use social media to find your next employee. And before we get started, I'd like to cover just a few housekeeping notes. If you need technical assistance or technical help during the webinar, please use the chat box. We have staff on hand who can try and help with any issues you may be experiencing. We also have links to pertinent documents in the chat box that you will be able to access. The resources we have here will also be available on our website, as well as being included in a follow-up email to you. And after the presentation, we have left some time for Q&A. So make sure to post your questions in the Q&A box, and we will get to as many of those questions as possible and get them answered right here and right now. And please note, the webinar is also being recorded. So we will be sending out a link to this recording along with a transcript of the Q&As as well. And our featured speaker today will be Daphne LeBlanc, Marketing Advisor for One East Side Spark. And Daphne, I turn it over to you.
Why, thank you. You are just like so exciting when you present. I love it.
I try.
So before I start, I want to make sure everyone can see my screen. I'm going to go with a yes. I'm
Yep,
hoping.
we can see
All
it.
right.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is social media. And I know that one of the biggest struggles that companies are having right now is how to find your next employee. And even though I am one of the few One East Side employees that do not reside in Washington, I actually face this every single day. People in small businesses do not have enough staff to cover the work that is coming their way. Before we jump in, just reminding you, I'm Daphne, so feel free, reach out. I'm a business advisor for One East Side, and I'm also a marketing educator. I work with adults and teach them everything there is to know about marketing. Also a digital strategist and speaker. And honestly, I think my biggest claim to fame, and probably the reason why I've been so exhausted these past month or month and a half, is because I am a mom of 3, wife to 1, and technically I normally say that I am also a doggy owner. So I have a lot of kids in the house. Now, I always like to start with something fun, like a fun, interesting quote. And this one blew my mind. And it says, did you know that 3 people are hired every minute via LinkedIn? So we're all thinking about, holy cow, I can't get employees, but there are people on LinkedIn who are getting hired every single minute. So here's what I want to know. Is this how you feel when you are posting up a job? Join us now. Come on, let's go. Like, come on. No, seriously, are you seriously feeling that way, right? So if you are seriously feeling that way, what I want you guys to do is take out a pen and paper, and I want you guys to start jotting down these notes. We're going to focus on 3 different platforms. We're going to focus on Twitter today. We're going to focus on LinkedIn, and we're going to focus on Facebook. All right. But I want to get you guys to understand, why am I so passionate about using social media for recruitment? All right. Outside of the fact that I think social media is a great marketing tool, I would love for you guys to either put in chat. I think our chat is open. Like, why do you think social media is so important when it comes to recruiting? It's kind of twofold, this one. And don't be shy. You guys have, for those of you who saw my first webinar, you know I love interaction, right? So here is the twofold answer. It's this lovely number right here, 2.89 billion, okay? Now that number is how many people are actually on Facebook. Okay, so I haven't talked about LinkedIn. I haven't talked about Twitter. So on LinkedIn, there are over 775 million people on LinkedIn and close to 200 million on Twitter. So there is a huge ability for you to make your job posting more visible. It increases the chance of finding qualified candidates. And you like how I bolded fast? Because it's not just about putting more visibility, because here's what happens. Sometimes I'll see a job, I'm not looking for a job, but guess what? I'll see a job and I'm like, oh my goodness, I know a girlfriend of mine has been looking for an event planning job. This company looks amazing. I'm going to share that with her. I've actually had people send me things. Hey, Daphne, are you still doing consulting work? I saw this posted. You know, so the thing is, it's not only that you're making your posting visible to people that need jobs, but you're making it visible to people who know people that need jobs. And so that's why I think social media is so important when you're thinking about using social media as a recruitment tool. All right, so let's get started. We're going to break down the platforms: Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So let's jump into Twitter. Now, Twitter, most people just know it as this little platform that there's a lot of talking going around. There's just a whole lot of stuff happening. And they only give me 280 characters. How do I get my job posting up on Twitter? That's crazy. Who does that? Well, guess what? Lots of companies actually do that. And for those of you who are in front of a computer, feel free to open up a new tab. I typically have about 15 of them open at a time. I know, don't judge me. It is what it is. Feel free to go to twitter.com. And when you go to twitter.com, I want you guys to look for the search tab. When you find the search tab, I want you to put hashtag now hiring. If you put in the search tab, hashtag now hiring, you will see tons and tons and tons of job postings. Now that is incredible, because I'd also love to know, with a show of hands, how many of you have actually posted up your jobs on Twitter? So how many people have posted up their jobs on Twitter? I don't know, but I want you guys to think that this is a great tool to use. Now, if you are going to use Twitter to post up, here are some things that I want you guys to include. The first thing I want you guys to include is a text. Do you enjoy blank, blank, blank? Can you see yourself blank, blank, blank? Are you, oh, excuse the typo. Clearly I should put, are you an expert, and put in copywriting? Did you find the typo? Right? And so you're getting them involved. And then the next thing is, if so, join our team and location. So join our marketing team in Washington as our new copy editor. So you want to make sure that you're letting people know. Again, you only have 280 characters when it comes to Twitter, but there's still more that you want to include, because you want your content to stand out. You want to make sure that there is a call to action. Give them the link to where they need to apply. All right. And add a graphic element. Put in an image in there. Let them see what the work environment is like, because that is key to finding employees. And later on in this workshop, I'm going to tell you guys why it is so important to show what a day in a life of your company is like. All right. But once you post this, I want you guys to know this is not enough to get your post seen. You need to use something called hashtags. So the big thing with Twitter, even though you have only 280 characters, the reason content gets found so often on Twitter is by using hashtags. So typical hashtags that you want to use on Twitter is jobs, now hiring, jobs in, I put XYZ. Maybe you want to put jobs in Redmond, jobs in One East Side, jobs in Washington, jobs in Seattle, jobs in NY, remote jobs, whatever it is, you want to make sure you're hashtagging that. You want to put the position name. So you could put barista on there. And then last but not least is your brand name. So you could put the name of your company as a hashtag. And this makes your posting much more visible. I'm going to take a moment to take some water, because I am a New Yorker and I talk really fast. Thank you. So here are some examples of posts. Now, what I wanted to do is, when I looked up some of these things, I was like, I want to find something that hasn't been posted too long. So we look at this post that says, now hiring for a digital marketing manager, right? It tells them a little bit about the job. It gives them the call to action, which is the link. And look at that. It even has the hashtags. Like, typical. Is that not what I just told you guys to do? Yay. But I also want you guys to see that they put a photo on there as well. The other things that you're going to notice is that this post itself was retweeted 4 times and liked 6 times. So they are able to increase the visibility for this posting outside of Indeed, outside of Monster, outside of all the typical places that people post up jobs. Now, the other thing, and this is something we'll talk a little bit more about later, is this post doesn't necessarily have a job post to it. It doesn't tell you anything about the job, but what it does is it tells you something about the company culture. Now, part of your job is to market those open positions, but what makes somebody want to work for you? It's so important to always think about why someone wants to work for you. Gone are the days that people only want to work for money. I know, it's insane. Who doesn't want to work for money? Well, now people want to not just work for money, but they want to enjoy where they work. They want to enjoy the people they work with. They want to know that the people they work with have their back and that they could work together collaboratively. That has become much more important than how much a company pays. So you want to make sure that you are always highlighting your company culture, especially when you're going to start recruiting for a role. All right. Again, I'm going to take this brief moment because we're going to go into Facebook. And what I want to make sure that everyone is using the Q&A section. If there are questions, feel free to post them up. I'm going to be leaving time at the end to answer questions. Okay, the next area that I want to focus in on is Facebook. And I know by far this tends to be most people's favorite platform. Outside of anything, they have over 2 billion people who are on Facebook. And I know that that is global, but you can actually go in and create a job posting. And I don't know how many people actually know that there is a Facebook job board. How many people know that there is a Facebook job board? Is this not insane? Okay, I always tell people, if something is on someone else's social media platform, like let's say LinkedIn, it's going to end up being on Facebook at some point in time. And Facebook introduced job boards, I think about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I could be wrong, but I know it's within that vicinity. So these job boards have been around for a long time, right? When we think about technology. And people who typically know about these job boards are people who are looking for jobs, not the people who are posting jobs. Because if we already have a job, we're not often looking for another one, right? So what I want you guys to recognize here is this is a tab in Facebook. And what's going to happen when someone clicks on this tab, they have the ability to create something called job alerts. So they can subscribe to a job alert for a particular type of job. They can type in some keywords where it says search by job title or keywords. You can put a filter to your particular location. You can even break it down to how much money, the industry, and the type of job these people are hiring. And it also will give them a breakdown of all the applications that they have submitted through Facebook. And it's really, really beneficial because here's the thing. Not only is there a job board where people can search for jobs, this is ideally what jobs look like on Facebook. And this is going to be the next thing that you're going to do. Once you create a job on Facebook, you'll have something that looks very similar to this, without the copy, of course. You'll have the ability to post up an image. So this is your opportunity to showcase what your company is about. You'll be able to say the name of the company, what the position is, and allows them to apply for the job. They can actually fill out an application directly on Facebook, and they could submit their resume. Excuse me. But not only that, did I tell you guys that this is free? Yes, free. You guys don't need to pay for this service. Facebook, if you have a Facebook business page for your business, you can post up a job for free. I know, take a moment. I'm taking a moment, actually, even if you don't want to take a moment. Let that sink in, okay? Now, the next thing that I want you guys to do is I want you guys to also recognize that after you post up the job, you can share it as a social media post. So what you're going to recognize is these two are sample Facebook posts. So even though if they click on apply now, they'll be able to get information, someone created this post. And look at how many likes and shares that each of these job posts have received. Okay, so again, increasing the opportunity for your posting to be seen. A lot of us focus on putting the job boards right in front of our door, right? If you're a brick and mortar, you'll post it up on your door. There's nothing wrong with that, but we want to increase visibility because not everyone who's passing by your location is looking for a job, right? So this is an opportunity to reach even more people. Let's talk about what should be included when you are doing a Facebook job posting. So you want the job title to be there. I highly recommend talking about benefits, and benefits does not always mean that you are offering healthcare benefits, that you're offering time off. Think about why do people want to work for me? Oh, I offer them training opportunities. I offer them an opportunity to work in a collaborative environment. I offer them the ability to be a self-starter. I am not a micromanager. all of these things are actually benefits that people look forward to. There was one company, I remember looking at their benefits and it said, we do an annual, and it did preface it, prior to COVID, we did an annual retreat overseas. So they were paying for a trip for staff and their families to go overseas at an all-inclusive resort for them to do their company retreat. So that is an added benefit, right? The other thing you want to incorporate in there is your location, the call to action, which is very similar to Twitter, which is the web link, or it's where they can fill out the application. And one thing that I'm going to suggest when it comes to a graphic element, rather than just put an image, try to put a video. See what kind of video you can get from all of your current staff. Make the position look really fun, inspire them to want to work for you. Now, this is also one of those things that many people don't use too often on Facebook, but I highly recommend also incorporating hashtags into your post. The difference with Twitter versus Facebook is that with Facebook, you only want to put about 3 hashtags. You don't want to inundate your post with hashtags. It actually doesn't look very pleasing when you put too many hashtags on there. So people typically use about 3 hashtags. I do recommend that prior to using hashtags on your post, go in and use that search button on Facebook and see which ones are better suited for the job that you are posting up online. All right. So again, this is the Facebook section, things that we've learned. Number 1, you can create the Facebook. You can actually create a job posting directly on Facebook. You can collect applications directly on Facebook. You can also share that post on Facebook. You should incorporate hashtags when you are sharing that and potentially do a video. Again, reminding you guys, I'm going to go into LinkedIn, so feel free to put your Facebook questions. So LinkedIn by far is one of my favorite channels for posting up jobs. I mean, I did start with, hey, every minute, 3 people are hired by using LinkedIn. So it happens to be my favorite platform for professional searches and things like that. That is actually how LinkedIn started. It started as a professional platform, and now it is one of the top ranked B2B social media platforms, right? So when you go on LinkedIn, LinkedIn also has a job board, but LinkedIn has always had a job board. So for me, that's not all that intriguing. But what I want you guys to see is when you click on the jobs tab on LinkedIn, you will scroll all the way down, and in blue, it stands out. It says post a free job. Did you not see that? Post a free job. So this is your opportunity. Again, you will need to have a business page for your LinkedIn account. So you'll have your own personal account, and then you'll have a LinkedIn page for your business. So when you post up a free job, it will connect to your business page. Now, here are 2 sample LinkedIn posts. Now, you'll notice what people have done, and this is Gary Vee. I don't know how many of you follow Gary Vee, but he's a very well-known, I don't want to say social media person, but I would say a marketing person, right? He started with a small mom and pop vineyard, right? He was selling wine, and he has grown into a very well-known, influential person in the marketing space. Now, he's an influential person, and he is still posting up that he's looking for employees for one of his businesses. And I love how he does this. He incorporates emojis into this. He tells them the title of the position, and he lets them know where the application can be found. He lists the top 3 jobs that you're looking for, and he also says, tag a friend that should apply. Okay, he's incorporating an image in there. So he's also saying this job might not be for you, but it might be for someone you know. Here is your opportunity to share this job with them. Okay, the next one, and I like this, is they actually put kind of flash breaking news. Okay, here's the scoop of the job board, and it has all of the positions in there. It gives them information. It literally says, what do I need to know? What does the person need to know about the job? what would make them want to apply for the job? All right. So when you are thinking about incorporating your content or creating a post on LinkedIn for jobs, you want to have text. You want to incorporate benefits. You want to have a call to action, and you want to have a graphic element. And I highly recommend that you also tell people, if you know someone that fits this, please tag them below. It increases visibility for your post. And unlike Facebook, Instagram's organic reach is still fairly high. So if a friend of mine tags me or tags someone I know, I am more than likely going to see it in my newsfeed, even though I might not be looking for a job, but it's allowing that post to increase its organic reach. And just like the other two platforms I discussed, yes, please put hashtags on there. People who are searching for jobs on LinkedIn are following these hashtags. They have the ability to follow hashtags. So they're following the hashtag jobs, hashtag now hiring, hashtag opportunities. They are looking for, how can I get a job? Okay, so people are doing that. I actually have one person that I follow on LinkedIn, and he, even though he's employed, he loves his job. He says that LinkedIn helped him get a job. So what he does every single day, he follows these hashtags and he shares one of their posts and says, here is the job listing of the day. So you have people who aren't even looking for jobs that are sharing these kinds of jobs. Now, the other thing is your company page. I want you to highlight the job from your company page. So once you post up the job, you're going to use that post on your company page to share it to your personal page. So when you had looked at the examples that I gave, that's what someone had done. This is probably the most important thing on LinkedIn. I tell people this over and over again. If you are working for a company, please follow that company page. Please share their content. And an easy way to get an employee is if you tell your employees, hey, I just posted up this job. Do you mind sharing it on your own personal LinkedIn profiles? They could come up with anything creative. I have one person that I follow and they say, I write about food all day. She happens to be a copywriter for a restaurant. So she goes, I write about food all day. If you like food as much as I do, you might want to apply for this job. So yeah, it was catchy. People went on and actually people inboxed her and started messaging her about the job. Now, if you look at this person posted this 1 hour ago and already has 7 likes and 3 comments. We can't see how many people have shared this, but you can actually share these posts and send these posts to someone directly in their inbox on LinkedIn, which goes into something called InMail. So InMail is a little different. InMail is actually something that LinkedIn members can pay for, and it's really inexpensive. I will lie if I tell you I remember how much it is, but it's no more than, let's say, 50 cents to send someone an InMail. So what's really great about this is LinkedIn allows you to search for people and send them private messages on LinkedIn. So let's say you are looking for a barista and you know that this is an entry-level position, you know that you're looking for someone who's either in college, and you have like certain criteria that you're looking for. You can start searching for those people on LinkedIn based off of criteria. And if you see someone that you think is well suited for that job, you could send them a private message on LinkedIn and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, I work for such and such, and we have a few barista positions open. I'm not sure if you're looking for a position, but if you are, here is the link to the job, or feel free to respond and I'll give you more information. Now, why do I say that you should use InMails versus emails? So this is actually a crazy statistic. I love statistics. InMails tend to have an open rate of 50% versus emails from people you don't know have an open rate of less than 20%. So an InMail on LinkedIn from someone you don't know, you're more likely to open 50% of the time. If someone sends you an email from your own personal email, If you don't know that person, there's less than 20% of the people in here will actually open that email. So it's really beneficial. You want to think about how much is a new employee worth to me? Is it worth it for me to get InMail credits so that I can start sending people InMail messages? All right. So we're almost down to the wire, and I think I am doing okay on time. I think I have like another 10 minutes. So keys to the 4 questions. Okay. So keys to success. When it comes to this, I want you guys, I'm going to repeat this, and you can actually look this up. It was really intriguing. Culture has been rated as more valuable than compensation. I repeat, culture has been rated as more valuable than compensation. People are no longer just looking at a job posting. They're no longer looking at just, we are hiring. They want to know more. So when I say that, don't just post a job and forget about it. Share your company culture, share the benefits, share the wins, share the people who've just recently got promoted, especially people who've gotten promoted within, because when you do that, it makes them think, holy cow, this is a nice company to work for. Share when you guys get to go out, or when you have, let's say you don't get to go out. Share when you guys do a virtual Zoom happy hour. Post about those things. Post if you send someone a gift basket. People want to see that, again, because culture has been rated as more valuable than compensation. All right. The next thing is, make sure when you have a job posting, ask your staff and your friends to share the job. Okay. That is probably the easiest way to market a position. Okay. And I'm going to give you another tip that is not on this slide. If you are on Facebook, follow some Facebook groups. Ask people who manage the Facebook group and say, hey, I have a job. Is it okay if I post this job into your Facebook group? Because a lot of people are following those. There are also Facebook groups that have to do with job opportunities. Go into them and start posting your jobs. There are LinkedIn groups that are focused on finding a job. So make sure that you are leveraging all of these things. Posting a job or posting a sign is not going to get you a job anymore, because again, culture has been rated as more valuable than compensation. And this is just another suggestion that I have, and this could work for some, could not work for others, is create a referral bonus for staff. I repeat, create a referral bonus for staff. So not everyone has the luxury of saying, hey, if you bring in an employee, I'm going to give you $1,000. But if you if you are a restaurant owner, you can say, if we hire this person, I will give you a free dinner with your family, right? So it's better than a discount, and it's what is affordable to you and what you can offer, right? And that just has to be on their day off. You can also offer them double their discount. So maybe someone typically gets 20% off of something, and say when you refer someone who gets the job, you get 40% off for a certain amount of time. But you have to think creatively about bringing people in and making sure that people are also sharing your stuff. And the last one is, give people a reason to want to work for you. Everyone out there is looking for an employee. This is not new. We all are struggling with this. How can I get an employee? How can I get an employee? And honestly, you have to make people want to work for you. Okay. So that's what I've got. All right. I wanted to do something that would allow you guys to ask questions and focus on platforms that you guys are already using. You guys are using Twitter, you're using LinkedIn, you're using Facebook. These are platforms that you're on a daily basis. And all 3 of these are giving you opportunities to do something for free. Did I say for free? Okay. I like repeating that. So I'd love to stay connected with you guys. If you use your mobile device, you can screenshot this, and you can just connect with me on LinkedIn. You have my email as well. The next thing is, I know that Christina mentioned this. We have free advising. I was actually talking to someone yesterday about someone in Redmond about their business yesterday. And I was floored. I was actually blushing because he ended the conversation with, "Holy cow, I can't believe I waited so long to email you back. This was so good." Right? So you have the opportunity, and I have to make sure I make that a quotable. Someone remind me, because you have an opportunity to get free marketing advising sessions. Okay, so follow this link. You'll be able to fill out a form, and then Samantha will connect you with me, and then I will give you a link to book on my calendar. I typically like to have them after business hours, just because I know you guys are running small businesses. But if that doesn't work, just reach back out and say, "Hey, I don't have availability for this. Can we make another time?" And I try my best to accommodate. So last but not least is questions, anyone? I'm going to stop sharing my screen and give it back to you, Christina.
I love it. Fantastic as always, Daphne. Thank you. I loved how you had some elements in there to show companies how they can be competitive, because like you said, there's so many people looking for employees right now. I have a hashtag question for you.
Oh, go ahead.
You had mentioned Facebook had a limit of 3, or that's kind of the amount. Are there other considerations you should have for the other LinkedIn and Twitter ads, or is it as many as you can fit on the screen? Oh, did we lose you? Oh, we lost you. Hold on. One moment, please. All right. I think she is rebooting here. Let's give her a moment to log back in. And I think, while we're waiting for her to come back on, I want to just reiterate what Daphne was mentioning. The federal grant that we received allows us to buy hours from these experts like Daphne. And it really, it doesn't cost you anything, but it can be tremendously valuable. And please reach out to schedule an advising appointment if you would like. And let's see. Well, at least we got through the presentation before she started having technical difficulties. So hopefully she'll be coming back on pretty soon. And I want to remind everybody, we do have the Q&A box if you would like to submit your questions there.
And Christina, I was able to come back. I don't know what happened to my computer. Totally crashed, but I believe that technology always happens. And so I'm on my phone.
It's all good. And I was kind of filling people in, and I'll answer a question right here. Yesenia asks, are the advising appointments only for people in the East King County? Some of these aren't, but why don't you go ahead and let us know who you are, and we're great dot connectors too. So if you don't fall under our program, we certainly can be able to maybe find something else for you. So reach out and let us see what we can do. So Daphne, I think right when you were logging off, I didn't know if you heard the question, but it was about hashtags. Mm-hmm. You talked about the limit of 3 hashtags for Facebook. And then the question was about LinkedIn and Twitter. Are there limits there as well?
Okay, so that's a great question. It's not that you're limited to 3 hashtags, but right now, because Facebook has kind of slowly been integrating hashtags into their algorithm, I highly recommend you stick with 3. As far as LinkedIn has incorporated hashtags for a while now, but again, because of the aesthetic, I would try my best to stick to no more than 5 hashtags on LinkedIn. And when it comes to Twitter, you have to be very strategic, because remember, you only have 280 characters. So do your best. I've seen people put in like 10 hashtags. I don't know how they do that. I have never been that creative, but I do try to go around 3 hashtags, especially if it's a job posting.
Excellent. Thank you. That's good insight. So another question is states, I need to hire for several entry-level positions. What is the best platform to post on, and what is the most important information to include?
Ooh, okay. So entry-level positions, I would definitely go with LinkedIn and Facebook. Here's why. So LinkedIn is a professional platform. So a lot of entry-level people are just like, oh my goodness, I need to have a LinkedIn profile. So they don't even have a LinkedIn profile, but we're posting up entry-level positions there. So by the time they set up their profile, that job might have been filled, right? But there are other people who've like, hey, I've been looking for a job for 3 months, so I'm already on there. So I would definitely put it on LinkedIn. I would also put it on Facebook, again, because so many people are on it that it might just bring more visibility. Maybe you'll get some people to apply for it, but the key to Facebook is making sure that you get people to share it. Now, you asked me what is important to put in there, and I'm going to tell you some of the best practices that I have seen, not necessarily things you have to do, but best practices that I've been seeing as this trend toward culture versus compensation has been evolving. So number one, you want to put the job title. You want to let them know that it is an entry-level position. You want to put in the top 5 responsibilities. Don't overwhelm them and put 20 things. We probably, all of us in this room, know that we're going to be doing tons and tons of things, but it's an entry-level position and they already feel like they might not have the skills needed for that job. So try to keep it to like 5 or 6 responsibilities. Now, here is the best practice that I've recently been seeing. Someone I've noticed put in 30, 60, 90-day goals. Within 30 days, you would have been trained on our company culture. Within 60 days, you would start to have the responsibilities set forth in the job description. Within 90 days, you should be going and running on your own. And it was really intriguing to me because it made me realize that this concept of culture versus compensation, how important it is, because so many of these entry-level people don't know what to expect. So put all of that out there. And then the last thing that I didn't mention is make sure you put benefits driven. You want to talk about what the benefits are of joining this company. I've seen people who put learn from someone who started this as a brick and mortar, because some entry level people want to work with someone who just started a job, not someone who's already, not a Jeff Bezos. They want to, or they might want to work with Jeff Bezos and be like, you will be personally tutored by him or mentored by him. Put in those things that make your company the company that someone should come to.
That's great. Thank you. All right. Our next question is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. It says the positions we hire for require specialized skills. Where should I post, and how do I reach the professionals that have the specific skills or certifications that we need?
Ooh, okay. So that I'm going to tell you Twitter and LinkedIn. The reason why Twitter is because you can use hashtags for those particular skills. So you will find a lot of hashtags. For example, if someone needs to be a technician, they need to have project management. They need to have, let's say they need to be certified and they need to be a lab technician, things like that need actual certifications. You can put those hashtags into Twitter. So really consider sharing that LinkedIn job post to Twitter. Now, your main platform is going to be LinkedIn. Again, when you do that, you can put all of that criteria in. And something that I didn't mention, so I'm glad that this question was asked, when you post up a job on LinkedIn, you can create the application of choice. So when you create the application, you can tell them, do you have this certification? Do you have this? Upload your this. Like I've seen jobs that have asked people to upload their diplomas, upload their transcripts, their licenses, all of those things you have the ability to do in LinkedIn, and just make sure to share that over to Twitter using the specific hashtags.
That's great advice. Thank you. Okay, on to the next question. What are the biggest mistakes employers make in job listings on social media?
All they do is say what's in it for them. This job pays $10 an hour. This job is 9 to 5.
you have told me nothing. There's so many jobs that are 9 to 5. And also they undervalue things that they think are important. So gone are the days that salary is, and it's not that salary is not important, but gone are the days that people only look at salary. Right. And you have to think about this because there are people who take full-time jobs that offer no benefits. So why are they willing to leave a job that has benefits to go to a job that doesn't have benefits? What is that job offering? Right. So you want to make sure, to me, that's the biggest mistake. You're just so focused on, I'm going to say it old school because that's what I do. You know, I remember the days where I had to get the New York Times to look for a job and circle the job that I wanted. And you could only say a tweet. So the tweet was receptionist, $10 an hour, looking for college students, and the phone number. That was it. So now we still tend to create job postings that way, but people don't care about those things. So tell them the job, tell them the benefits, tell them why they want to work there. So benefits also, that's why now you'll even notice that people don't put the full benefits compensation. They just say offer health and dental, or they have full medical. They're not going to go into detail where that used to be important.
That's so fascinating to me as someone who hires folks. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a new trend, and next year there'll be another trend, but that's the one right now.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. How would you go about finding groups? You're mentioning groups on Facebook and LinkedIn. How would you go about finding the right groups to post your page to? Would you just search for it? Is there any tips around there?
Perfect. So both of them have search functionality. So on Facebook, I believe it's in the upper left-hand corner is search, and LinkedIn, it's right next to the L. Right next to the L, the logo is the search function. You're going to put the keywords in that you're looking for. So you can look for jobs in Washington. And when you type in jobs in Washington, there's going to be a drop-down filter that comes up. And that drop-down filter will allow you to filter by post, by jobs, by groups, by pages. So you want to make sure that you filter it down to groups. The same thing goes for LinkedIn as well. When you type in those keywords that you're looking for, it's going to populate, and you're going to make sure that you filter it by groups.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Our next question asks, we are hiring for the financial services banking industry. Any tips for us on what we should be doing on social media to attract employees? What group should we be following to promote our open positions?
Okay, so the groups one I know was answered, and I'm going to remind you guys, more professional type positions, you want to make sure that you post those on LinkedIn. Now, what I have seen, though, which is really interesting, is I've seen companies that post everything on LinkedIn and everything on Facebook. Really intriguing. And so you can do both of those. Honestly, if you create a job post in LinkedIn, you just have to copy and paste that into Facebook. So it's not as time consuming as you think. The difference is for Facebook, you need an image. And I highly recommend talk to your current staff. See where they hang out the most. Hey, how'd you get this job? Why did you apply for this job? Put those things in. I know even one place, I'll be honest, why did I start working for One Redmond? I loved speaking to Christina, right? So for me, it was the fact that there was a collaborative relationship with everyone who was there. So that is something that would be keen to make sure that you incorporate into your job description. So speak to your newly hired people and ask them, what really made you take this job, right? Some people would say, I didn't have a job. But some other people might say, my interview process, this is what I learned about you. Or I know someone who comes in here every single week to deposit their check, and they always say they have such a great experience. So make sure that you're putting those in there. Financial services, medical industry, education, put those on LinkedIn and on Facebook.
All right, sounds good. And I think I'll give it a couple more minutes to see if anybody has any any questions, because I think we've gone through most of them. While we're waiting, I want to mention we do maintain a list of Eastside job boards on our oneeastside.org site. So it's oneeastside.org/workforce. And that has some opportunities there, or opportunities to be listed. We also have some company industry specific job fairs that are coming up too. So we'll make sure to kind of gather that intel and send it out to everybody. And a reminder, we are recording the webinar, and we will send this recording out along with a list of the resources that we are providing here as well. All right, I think that does it for our questions. Any last kind of words of wisdom, Daphne, for everyone?
Words of wisdom: leverage the people you know, and that includes your current employees. Like, leverage the people you know and your current employees. They are the best people to sell any job. And right now, all people are experiencing being short-staffed. So I think that we are right now in a culture where people understand that. And that also gives people who work there, who want to find a job, an opportunity to pick and choose. So make yours the one that they want to choose. That's all I've got.
I love it, Daphne. Thank you. Amazing as always. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you very much. And I want to thank all our partners on the East Side who are working hard to support our business community. I know we've got the oneeastside.org/spark website. Want to make sure you bookmark that. There you will find key resources, more information on our one-on-one advising services, weekly webinars, grant opportunities as they become available will be listed there as well. Another quick reminder of some upcoming webinars. I think we have a slide on that as well. If not, I'll just go to the big thank you. A big thank you. Oh, there we go. The SBA Idol program is coming up. And I want to thank you all for participating on our webinar today. So until we see you again, this concludes our webinar. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.